Well, they say opposites attract, but that's not always the case. If you're having a hard time finding love, the problem might not be with the partners you're going after, but failing to understand your own love archetype. Joining us live to explain love archetypes and what yours could be is author and relationship expert, Dr. Carmen Harra. She joins us this morning. Good morning to you, Carmen. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Jenna. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. This really piqued my interest here. By the way, I took the test, the quiz online to find out what I am. Yes, I'll tell you in a bit. But first, why don't you explain what the 7 types of romantic archetypes are?
So an archetype stems from your personality traits, your weaknesses, your strength, your capacity to love. And there are 7 major archetypes. The independent, who cherishes freedom and has a very hard time to commit. The workaholic, who's actually somebody who wants both worlds, wants his career and the significant other, but will give up on his significant other for the sake of his career. The narcissist, who has such a heightened ego, little humility, and he's so selfish, and that precludes him from bonding with somebody else. The free spirit is somebody who wants to be committed, but he will leave you in the middle of the road. You're going to have a date and he's not going to show up. The hopeless romantic, who's such an idealist of epic proportion. He's in love with love. The wounded warrior is somebody who has suffered a trauma. And when you suffer a trauma, it takes a long time to heal the reactive side of the brain. And then there's the introvert. The introvert has such issues with opening up with intimacy, with trust. So those are his major concerns.
That was a nice quick rundown. I like it. All right, so I got the independent. I'm curious. I got to tell my husband to take the quiz. Which are the types that they just don't go together? It's like oil and water. And which are the most complementary to each other?
Well, the most complementary will be the wounded warrior and the hopeless romantic, because the hopeless romantic is in love with the one who will help the wounded warrior to heal his wounds that are very deep and profound. And then the ones that don't work together is, for instance, the wounded warrior and the narcissist.
Oh, gosh.
They never gonna work together. Impossible.
Wow. Okay. So is there a way, let's say you said the wounded warrior and the narcissist. I mean, on its face, that sounds terrible. Is there a way to make that work?
If you mitigate, because the reason I wrote the book, I said, let me make people understand what's happening with the way they express themselves, with their characteristics. And if you work on yourself, if you understand your personality traits, there is a way to stop sometimes patterns of behavior, to work on your emotional self, and to correct the tendency, because nobody's born a specific archetype, but we have predisposition to become one. So if you work on that, then everything can lead to a well-rounded archetype, which is the ideal archetype.
I love that. So the goal here is, at least if you want to have one thing in common, it should be that you're both working to work with each other. All right, so speaking of 5 things that you should do that your partner is guaranteed to love, regardless of the romantic archetype.
So you understand your archetype, you understand who you are, and you understand your weaknesses. And you also need to know what happened before. Reflect on your past. What were the obstacles, that lead to a separation? The interference, the outside people interfering in your love life. Also, make sure you understand your emotion. Emotion plays such a important role in people's behavior, in people's patterns of behavior. If you display negative emotion in a relationship, then definitely that relationship is not going to last. How can you do here? You can take a journal for 7 days and write down your emotions, but go deeper than feeling sad or feeling happy, and analyze how you respond to your partner. What does your partner evoke in you, and how do you react? And if you do this analysis after 7 days, you come up with a dominant emotion. And emotion are our best friend, but worst enemies. So if you know how to keep emotion in check, you can create the best version of yourself and also the best relationship possible.
I love that. Real quick, because they're wrapping me, is there any upside to being a narcissist? Is there any positive in that archetype?
The narcissist, if he mitigates and becomes aware, how selfish he might be, then there is a way, to help him become committed and involved in a relationship. But a narcissist gets very well with another narcissist.
Well, there you go. Find yourself a narcissist if you're a narcissist.
Yes, that's
All
the
right.
answer.
Really quickly, how can people get more information?
Well, they can go to carmenharra.com and find me there. Find the quiz, take the quiz and find out your archetype and start working on your emotions and find your dominant one.
All right, take the quiz. Dr. Carmen Harra joining us this morning. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
All righty.
I don't even need the quiz. I mean, I'm happy to take it.
You know what you are?
Independent.
I can totally see that.
But I will say this. The narcissist has confidence. And don't women say that they like confidence?
But then that confidence
It's taking it to the next level. Yeah. Here's what you don't want to do. You don't want to tell your significant other that they're the narcissist.
They're the narcissist. You pointed at one. I'm not going to put you out there.
This is like looking over at me right now.
What did you point at?
Steve, we're incompatible. I don't think that the two of us are going to be able to.
We've learned that for
That's what
decades.
I learned, all right? Let's do the forecast.
I want